Hello there everybody, Simon here. Rockstar Games just surprise dropped a small content update for Red Dead Online that delivers the opportunity to participate in 3 more solo Telegram missions. Telegram missions were first introduced in February of 2021. The first batch of missions was called A New Source of Employment, which tasked the players with short concept-specific goals, like guarding a stagecoach on its way to a destination, or robbing a prized horse from a stable. Each of these particular missions were also sandboxed, which means that instead of taking place within the free roam map, where you can be disturbed by other players, they are built to be completed solo in a private, controlled Red Dead Online session. All Telegram missions are from a mysterious character by the name of Jay, which appears to be short for Josiah. Just to be clear, this is not the same Josiah from the single-player campaign. That fellow is Josiah Trelawney, and it appears to be a coincidence that both characters are named as such. To access Telegram missions, you must head on over to your satchel while on foot and select the Telegrams option. There are now 3 different types of Telegrams to choose from: Call to Arms, which is the recently added survival mode, A New Source of Employment, which is the February launched solo missions, and A Tough Business, which is the newest batch of missions, which you must collect from the post office before it will be in your satchel. Both the A New Source of Employment missions and the A Tough Business missions can only be completed solo, whereas A Call to Arms can be attempted with your posse in tow. Much like the A New Source of Employment missions, each one of the new A Tough Business missions feels like a truly unique experience. Clearly, Rockstar wanted to deliver a scenario unlike any other jobs within the Red Dead Online world. As advertised in Rockstar's newswire, the A Tough Business missions are meant to be tougher than the A New Source of Employment missions. Therefore, they are all free aim only affairs. Auto aim is disabled for a more challenging playstyle. There are 3 missions in the A Tough Business Telegram set. The first is called Good and Dead, the second is called Cold Day in Hell, and the third is called Frontier Justice. During the Good and Dead mission, you are tasked with tracking down a scoundrel with an eye patch in Saint Denis. The unique part of this mission is the fact that the only thing that you have to go on is his description. Once you find him in the crowd, you are tasked with killing him quietly if possible, or you won't get the full monetary reward from Jay. Because of the sandboxed single-player nature of this particular job, I'd argue that Saint Denis was bustling even more than usual. It was certainly not bogged down with having multiple players in session, and as a result, it felt like there were a few more non-player characters walking around the Saint Denis Bazaar. During the Cold Day in Hell Telegram mission, you are tasked with stealing the plans for a bank robbery all the way up north in the town of Coulter. Again, it felt like the sandbox environment was unburdened by the multiple players in session. I say this because it was snowing up north. Snowfall in free roam is incredibly rare for some reason. Rockstar will sometimes make it snow everywhere in free roam during the winter holiday season, but usually it simply rains up in the West Grizzlies part of the map. Regardless, this mission was quite fun. There are far too few missions that take place in the beautiful snowy landscape of the Grizzlies, and I very much appreciated the choice of setting. Cold Day in Hell also challenged me to play it stealthy in order to get the full reward. I found myself in a gunfight where I ended up using the first-person mode to survive the difficulty of forced free aim. The Frontier Justice mission tasks you with destroying goods in Armadillo that are guarded by a posse that's taken over the town. As it turns out, this is also a hostage situation in town, and you have the opportunity to free the hostages as well. Each one of these missions is fantastic. They are deep, well-structured, and can certainly be difficult at times. I don't consider myself particularly adept at the free aim in this game, so I found myself struggling a little bit during certain moments. This leads me to some minor gripes that I had with these particular Telegram missions. The first concern is unique to the A Tough Business missions. I simply do not understand the reasoning behind forcing a player into free aim when both Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Online seem to be built with auto-aim functionality in mind. The aim assist is the default setting when you start up the game in single player or online, and Rockstar doesn't do a whole lot to make the option to choose free aim very accessible. There is certainly something to be said about how satisfyingly badass the competently built aim assist can make you feel when you are popping off headshot after headshot. My point here is this. These A Tough Business missions are some of the better missions in Red Dead Online, but they are some of the only missions that force the player into free aim. I can't help but feel like this is a square peg in a round hole type scenario. In other words, this feels like a half measure. Allowing the more casual, perhaps more role-playing focused players to play these missions with auto-aim in a lower difficulty setting seems like a better option to me. If Rockstar needs to ratchet up the difficulty, I suggest adding more enemies to the mission, or perhaps giving the enemies more firepower. But changing the fundamentals of the way a player plays can alienate some users and is not the most ideal option in my opinion. My second concern has to do with the immersion. The way you access Telegram missions is particularly immersion breaking. Any job that teleports you to another part of the map in order to start it up, unfortunately has this side effect. The initial Red Dead Online story missions, for instance, task the players with riding to a specific location in order to start the mission in that exact location. This does the opposite of that. It forces you to sift through menus in order to teleport to a mission in a far-off land. Of course, the lack of detail behind Josiah himself also breaks the immersion in some ways as well. We really don't have much to go on for who this random man is. We aren't given much story context whatsoever. The players who might be playing for the less arcadey, more wilderness survival nature of Red Dead Online might be disappointed with the lack of context to these missions. When the A New Source of Employment Telegram missions were launched in the beginning of 2021, they initially struck me as feelers to help Rockstar determine whether they might pursue the development of more missions with a similar flavor to these 3 unique starter missions based on player feedback and mission playtime. I felt this way because of the lack of detail behind Josiah and the strange and difficult to find method in which you launch each mission. But now, it seems like these solo missions are designed to just be another one of Rockstar's content offerings for Red Dead Online. Considering the number of jobs in-game that you can play solo, I'm also not completely certain why these missions are forcing players to play alone. Almost the entirety of Red Dead Online can be played solo if a player should choose. I imagine the solo nature of these missions might have something to do with Rockstar's ability to completely choose and control every aspect of the mission structure without too many variables to account for. I'm still not completely convinced that these Telegram missions are not a Rockstar experiment to determine what the development team should focus on next. Ultimately, the Tough Business Telegram missions are a good, albeit relatively small addition to Red Dead Online. Each of Josiah's solo-centric jobs are built with care and are decidedly unique. At times, players have said that Red Dead Online can be a tad too fetch quest heavy, but these particular quests venture into a more distinctive territory. I welcome more missions like this in the future that perhaps aim to be more interconnected with the overall Red Dead Online experience.